When you wake up, this is what you gotta do. You gotta crush the day before it crushes you. Every day I'm here to motivate, lead the way in the AM. I don't want you to hear these words, I need you to feel what I'm saying. Oh, you gotta crush the day before it crushes you. You gotta crush the day before it crushes you. In the building, Jimmy Wilson, motivation's coming, I can feel it. First thing that you need to do is crush the day before it crushes you.
Good morning, Day Crushers. It's your boy, Drewby. We're back again with another special interview episode. This is where I go out into the community and I find my favorite crushers of days. These are my friends, my family, the community of people that I've built by sharing the message of how important it is to continue waking up and finding that motivation to get out and crush the day before it crushes you. Now, today's guest is someone I'm very excited to have on. He's a gentleman that I've watched over the last year and a half, 2 years, hell, almost even 3 years probably at this point. Time's flying so dang quick. Mm-hmm. But he's someone that I've really had the pleasure of watching come out of his shell, really step into his authority, his brand, and truly focusing on crushing the day by serving the community. So I'd like you guys to help me welcome my friend, Mr. Jeremy Schreifels. What's up, brother?
Hey, it's a beautiful, beautiful day today. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be on this, really. I mean, I've been listening to your regular podcast episodes religiously for the last 6 months, and I feel like I'm growing right along with you. And I think you're right. I think I'm coming up on that 3-year mark of kind of just being in the community that we're in and where we met. And man, it's been transformational might be like a conservative word for where I was from where I came from. I mean, it might be conservative. I mean, to be just very open and honest, I met with my therapist 2 weeks ago, cause we all need places to let our stuff live. And she looked at me and said, holy shit. Think about the amount of work you did. And this is I've met her twice. She's like, the amount of work you've done in 2 years is remarkable. And really that it took somebody in that space to tell me that, to be like, okay, the things that I do simply daily and just keep showing up. And I know you talk about this a lot on your podcast about it's those daily activities that we are doing and that are so simple, and people they overcomplicate them. And it really has just become for me the showing up every single day, and living out my brand, living out my message, and not just that, but realizing that as you grow into that brand and grow into that message and your passion comes through that, it becomes easier to do those simple things every day, like waking up at 5 a.m., without an alarm anymore. I just don't need it because my body's it's time to go because we got things to do today.
And I think what I really love about that is when an individual finds that inner purpose, that drive, it's so much easier to get up and go through those difficult days, because it's never I should say, it's simpler to go through this. It's never easy, right? Nobody likes to go out and do the hard work, getting up at 5 a.m. Right before the crack of dawn and going to the gym or doing whatever thing you're supposed to be doing, which is why you're getting up at 5 a.m. It's always tricky. It's never fun. There are days where you're just dragging along, just all right, I got to get through this. But it's, as you said, it's the consistency of showing up day after day and knowing that even if you couldn't put in 100% effort, at least you put in some effort. And it's those little consistencies, those small little habits that you change that you don't recognize as the individual in question, that's going through the transformation, but the people around you who only see you every couple of months or once in a while, they're the ones that will call and give you that biggest compliment of the amount of transformation. As you said, going to speak to a professional whose whole job is to understand the psychology of how people work and what
Mm-hmm.
it takes to truly make those changes. Man, I love that for you. And it's another reason I wanted you to be on here, because as one of the team members who helps me create this podcast, you get
Mm-hmm.
some definite insight into my message and how I like to approach trying to change the world with what I'm doing. And what I'd love to know from you is, I'm not the only podcaster you work with. So in
Mm-hmm.
your journey, how have you been able to utilize that content that you're constantly taking in and finding your lane with it? Because I know one big thing that happens a lot is individuals will listen to tons and tons of content, but then they kind of have a hard time taking action on it. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
touch on that if you would.
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. And I think, and we see this a lot, and I'm experiencing it right at the heart of it, because not only are we producing and editing these podcasts for our clients to get them out into the world, like we're seeing that behind the scenes things that they're doing and the work and the effort and all of that that goes into it. And with the physical content that, I literally have the blessing to consume all of the time, it really, and I don't, to me, it's not work. It's literally like getting an MBA or a PhD every month. Like I think about the amount of knowledge that I have access to, in just taking it in from the editing and the consuming and the distribution, and the amazing folks that we get to work with are just high level, high performers in, they are the authority in their brands and in their markets. I really love what I love about that. And this comes back to how I feel like I've been able to grow so much in the last year and a half, is because I spent the first 20 years being a musician, a live performer, a producer, and a songwriter. And my favorite thing as a producer is synthesizing things to bring them together to make the best creative thing I can.
Mm.
And so I have put that into action in my learning and using all of this content from these podcasts to be like, how do I synthesize all of this information to grow my brand and to grow my voice, myself? And it's just, I have all these opportunities. Why wouldn't I take them and use them? And it's been great. And I think the hardest thing, and you hit it right to the point, is it's like people go to events and they take in all these podcasts and they're like, I don't listen to music or silence or radio. I only listen to podcasts. Okay, but are you listening to them? But are you hearing what they're saying?
Mm.
Right? Because so much, like, we're consuming information passively. We might be consuming it on the flick. We might be consuming it while we're driving as a podcast, but are we actually hearing it so we can then take that action?
Man, that's a big point that I really want to remind everybody to maybe go back and listen to that again, because there's so much opportunity for us to truly hear the thing we need to learn so that we can become who we're supposed to become. But a lot of times we're just filling dead air with noise. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go and listen to podcasts. I'm not saying that you should do all of those things. But I
Yeah.
think, Jeremy, you hit a fantastic point of remembering it's not just about listening, it's about hearing and implementing what you are listening to. And as someone like yourself who I hear content day in, day out, and I'm always
Mhm.
trying to filter through the noise. I think it's so important for people to remember, you have to go and implement the things that you're learning. You have to take notes. You have to write down those bullet points, those little key pieces of information and wisdom, because that's how you go and create your own standard operating procedures for life. And that's kind of
Mhm.
the secret to entrepreneurship, is learning to build those standard operating procedures so that you have the consistent way of doing things. And that's what kind of falls back on what we said earlier in this episode. It's the daily consistencies, those little things. Now, Jeremy, I want to touch on this for a minute because it's very important for me, for the listeners, to remember that in a professional manner, we all want to grow. We all want to get better. That's why we
Mhm.
listen to this kind of content, because we're continuously trying to educate ourselves. But what I love about you as well is that you truly take that energy and all of that greatness that you're absorbing, and you're putting it into your personal life and the people around you. And you recognize that from your time in the industry, being in the community, being able to feel that energy. We're just a week or two past Father's Day. I've seen how you go in and you pour that into your family and the people around you. What are the things that you've been able to really make sure to share? Because I had a moment in my journey where I was going to quit doing this podcast. And my mother-in-law said, "Hey man, you why would you quit? This is content that your son now has access to for the rest of his life. God forbid you had a heart attack or got hit by a bus or some crazy shit. Like, your son has hundreds and hundreds of these pieces of content that he can go and listen to and absorb that wisdom." How have you gone and started creating some of that content that you can pass on to future generations?
I've chosen, to be very honest, like, I'm not a super fan of video, so like people aren't seeing my face and talking, and a lot of that I'm working on that discomfort to become more comfortable.
I love
And
that.
so I don't have a ton of that kind of content out there. A lot of what I've put out in terms of content and showing others is in my words, in images, and kind of thoughts. But I think the one thing that I've done really well, in terms of the personal part in my family, is being intentional with that time and being present. That has done two things, and this has been very recent, this is super awesome. And this is probably the best place to share this, is because of doing all of those things for so long. Both of my kids, one who's 20, who just turned 20, and one who's about to turn 18, have both come to me and said, "We want to have our own businesses because we see what you do for others and we want that."
That's awesome.
And I'm like, okay, like, and that says two things. One, we're doing something right to show that this is possible and we can do it and you can be successful and you can raise a good family with a good home life with people. Like, we love nothing more, the four of us, than to just spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be things. It doesn't have to be places. It doesn't have to be shiny objects. Like, literally being in the presence of each other is enough synergy for the four of us, which is incredible, especially with two teenagers. So very grateful. You're approaching those days, so you'll understand soon.
Don't do that to me. Don't put that voodoo on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you dare. Give me my time, Jeremy. I got time. It's my most valuable resource, brother. Come on.
Yeah, they goes fast. Enjoy every moment. Enjoy every moment. That's what I always tell people.
You know what? But that's a great point, though. Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, it's just so I feel really grateful that they want to come to me and do that and see that it is possible and that they can be successful and they can take what they are excited about and what they are passionate about. Because 20 years ago, when I started playing in bands and I was gone 43 weekends a year, 130 shows a year, everybody said, like, what does your family think? Like, how is that okay for your kids? Well, it's pretty easy. First of all, I was the most present dad of anybody at my kids' school because I picked them up from school every single day,
Yes, sir.
Monday through Thursday. And I had that time. Yeah, I might leave on Friday and be gone till Sunday, but Monday through Thursday, I was dad and could be a father in that space. The other thing is why would I not want to teach my kids to follow their dream and follow their passion, no matter how they have to get there? So, Drewby, you are being that example by doing this podcast and showing him what this can look like. And you don't know what that's going to manifest in him or anything or in your family yet, because I'm just starting to see glimmers, small little windows that are incredible and are grateful for.
That's some powerful stuff, man. You're gonna get me in my feels this morning. So we came on with like a highlight energy. Now I'm in my feels. No, I'm very grateful too, because I understand at this part of our journey, because you and I are both on this journey. We're in it together. We have our own path. But what I really appreciate and love about you, Jeremy, is that you also subscribe to the idea success is a perspective. everyone's going to have their own version of it. Everyone's going to have their opinion that their version is the best version. But you know what opinions are like, assholes. Everybody has one. And the truth is, everybody has a version of success that they deserve. Because so many people have in their mind that they don't deserve success because they haven't earned it. And the truth is, they're kind of right in a sense. Because what you and I have accepted is that time is our most valuable resource. When we are intentional with it, when we spend it on the things that truly bring us joy and we are present in that moment, the return on the investment of that time is exponential. You recognize that, hey, the normal person would go work a 9-to-5 job and they'd hang out on the weekends and they'd not chase their dream because they don't want to miss out on doing the right thing. But you and I also both know that doing the right thing is doing the right thing for you and for your family. And Jeremy, you've been an amazing example of that to me, which is why I'm so excited to be an example of that and hear those words from you, because that's what we are here for. You and I are on the same mission of, hey, how can we step out and show the world, anyone who's interested in this type of journey, this version of success in their own way, how can we share that message? How can we put something in front of them that will give them the permission, the tactical knowledge, the motivation, whatever that could be? I love that you have that same mission in mind as me, and that's why we vibe and why we work together so well. And what I really wanted you to be able to know by coming on and sharing your journey today with our listeners, that you are an example and you are a fantastic one for people to follow, to learn from, and for anyone who's ever considered sharing a message, creating a podcast. I really recommend you guys go check Jeremy out because he's got a book. He's done podcasts for some of the best to ever do it, myself included. Just a little shameless plug there. But make sure you
100%.
guys are following him. So Jeremy, before we get out of here, man, I always like to ask folks, like, on the journey to becoming you today, I know that where you are today, you said it earlier in the show, you have made exponential growth in the last few years. And I know that it's got nothing to do but with the fact that you decided to become this version of yourself, to take the action necessary then and all the way back to when you started this journey. What would you give the listener as one piece of advice to really get out there and crush the day before it crushes you?
For me, it's literally never give up. And don't give up on the simple things. And the second thing I would say to that never give up is be okay with giving yourself space. Right? Sometimes we get in the grind of the hustle culture, and people forget that you need space, you need time. So, in order to never give up, you also have to give yourself space.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. And I'm truly grateful that we had the chance to meet, that we are here several years later, still getting to learn and grow with each other. And Jeremy, it's just been a pleasure getting to work with you, man. And I hope you know from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I know you're getting ready to take a big trip. You're going out to truly keep continuing to spread that message of helping others spread their message, because there's so many great stories in this world. There's so many day crushers out there who you are going into the community and giving them an opportunity to share that, man. So I just want you to know how grateful I am for you spending your time with us here today. And man, if you got any other words for everybody, let them know now, and then we'll get out of here.
Well, first, I'm grateful for you. Thank you for having me on this. I mean, it really is an honor to be part of the Day Crusher community. And I really think about that. I even find myself using just go crush your day on a regular basis. And you've been that example, and I've seen it, and just another example of how it doesn't matter what your path is or how you got there. Everybody's growing and learning as long as they're putting in that work. So thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm excited for what's yet to come.
Yes, sir. Me too. Me too. So how can the people find you if they want to come and check you out and learn more about how they can start a podcast of their own?
Well, if you want to start a podcast of your own, check us out over at monumentalvoicemedia.com. I'd love to have a conversation. That's what we're here for, is to have conversations. I'm Jeremy Schreifels on all of your social media platforms, whatever your favorite flavor is. And feel free to reach out. I love having conversations, and I really love coffee. So let me know.
I'll make sure that my producer puts all that information down in the show notes so you can't miss out on that. You know, I'll double check, but we'll make sure that everybody knows how to find you, man. Thank you again for being with us. For you guys that are listening, I want to thank you for being here. I know we typically do a shorter motivational episode, but it's in my belief that there's some great stories out there of people who are truly crushing their day, and I want to start bringing them in to share more of that. So make sure you subscribe to the show. Make sure you're tuned in on whatever platform of flavor is your preference. And then make sure to reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you, hear more about your stories, and maybe bring you on to talk about how you crush the day before it crushes you. We'll see you guys on the next one. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to go back and check out all the previous episodes. Make sure you subscribe and share this podcast with other like-minded, success-driven individuals who want to crush it. Check the show notes and grab your Crushing the Day swag over at crushingtheday.com. And remember, crush the day before it crushes you.
You gotta crush the day before it crushes you.